So hopefully you're still with me. Um, Again, Debbie LaFever, here's my phone number, here's my email address. If you have any questions, I understand that Photoshop can be a little intimidating for some people. It's a huge, huge program. So if you're just starting out, you may have a lot of questions. So I'm happy to help as best I can. So again, if if you contact me, please let me know who you are so I don't answer phone numbers that I don't recognize. So, right, so this next version, there's a technique called Pep Ventosa. It's a gentleman's name, Pep, P-E-P, and his last name is Ventosa, V-E-N-T-O-S-A. What he does is you take an object and you shoot it in the round. So what you would do is if you take a tree, okay, you would shoot it straight on, and then you take like 3 steps to the right and shoot it again, and another 3 steps to the right and shoot it again. And you just shoot it from all different angles. And it just gives a different um, perspective on an image. So you have more of something like this. You can do it in camera, but you're limited to how many images you can take. So for my Canon, I can take 9 images in camera. I believe Nikon can take 10. Um, but when Pep Ventosa does it, he can do 100 different images. And when you do it that way, you need Photoshop to be able to handle the files. So what I've done is, so this is basically straight out of camera. You can see here's the raw file, and this is the combined image straight out of camera. Then what I did was I did some Photoshop magic and some post-processing and created this image. This tree was not that full of flowers. And what I did was I brought back the tree trunk. So you can see here's some ghosting of the tree trunk here. And this is just to kind of give your eye a place to rest. So this is Pep Ventosa. So there are 12 different ways to do this as well, but still want to use that same script that we've been using all along because it just makes it easier. So I've gone ahead and I've done my editing in Lightroom, and I've did a sync with all of these. And if you can see, instead of doing 5 images, now we're going to do 9 images. So click on the first one, shift click on the last one, and do the same thing we've been doing all along. So go to Photo, Edit in, open as layers in Photoshop, give it a chance to load. And we're going to build on what we just did. So it's the same kind of concept, only this time the way the photo was taken is slightly different. So once we get all the images in, all right. So this time I'm going to reverse the images because of basically the way I walked around. So I'm going to click on the first one, shift click on the last one, go to layer, arrange, reverse. Okay. So I started here and then I stepped around and a different angle of the tree, different angle of the tree, different angle, different angle, different, different, different. So in looking at the images, again, pick the one I like best. And I think I like this one best. So I'm going to take this one, whoops, and just drag it to the bottom. And let's turn on all of the other layers. Okay. So Craig, does that make sense so far?
Yes.
Okay. So in the last image, what we did was we took guidelines and we lined, because I wanted to line up this tree. So now I'm going to take my guides. So remember we went to, view, rulers, make sure your rulers is turned on so you could get your guides. So click into the guidelines, and I think I want to line up right about here. So I'm going to click on the ruler, drag a guideline down to the base of the tree, let go, click over here, and kind of put it right about there. Okay, so now we just do the same thing as we did the last time. I'm just going to line it up at the base. And I'm not going to be real precise because I don't want to take too much time doing this. And just kind of move them around. So a lot of times when I'm doing this, I will take the focal point in my camera and line it up at a particular place. And that way it's just kind of a little bit easier to kind of line it. And with Pep Ventosa, you don't have to go all the way around. You can just kind of go at different distances from the tree. So you can go from here to here to here to here to here. Or if you can, this particular case I couldn't, you can go all the way around the tree. You can do this with buildings. You can do it with people. You can do it with anything you want. Okay, so I've lined up. And let's see. All right, so now I want to get rid of the guidelines because they're just distracting. The world won't end if you leave it there. It's just, they're just distracting. So view, guides, clear guides. So now we go through and we do the same thing that we did before with Charles's script. So click on the bottom layer, click on the top, make sure they're all selected. You can go File, Script, Integrated, Open Files, OK, Cancel. And then go back to your history and, whoops, there you go. And do the opacity changer. So now, when we're talking about opacity changer, okay, if we start looking at the opacity, if you look at this layer, the opacity is now 11%. We go with this one, it's 12, 14, 16, 20, 25, 33, 50. Okay, and you can change these as much as you want. In fact, when you look at most Pep Ventosa videos, they don't use this script. I'm just showing you the script because it's an easy way to do it, okay? But the way they generally do it is they turn them all off, okay? And then they play with the opacity of each individual layer. So they can kind of move it around. And then they also change blend modes. You do overlay or soft light or darken, multiply, screen. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll do one blend mode on one, they'll click on another one, and they'll change it to, all right, so we did screen the last one, let's try multiply on this one, and then you can play with the opacity. So it's whatever you want to do with it. Also, for the more advanced players on this, is that you can put in a mask and you can mask out various parts to it. Oops, helps if you have a black mask, and just do whatever you want. So you can build as you go. So, but that's lessons for another day. Let's go back to where we were. And this is the beginning of Charles's script. So as I said, there's 12 ways to do everything in Photoshop. And that was just another way of doing stuff. So going back to what we did in the last lesson was we copied the good layer So do Command or Control J, drag it to the top, put a mask on it, do a Command I, which inverts the color, get a brush, a soft brush. You can hit X to change the color to white, and then just kind of start bringing stuff in. So if I wanted the trunk just to be nice and white, okay, and I did like a really bad job of that, because if you can see there's white lining on here. So I can do X and just slowly but surely, just more carefully outline the tree trunk. That looks a little bit better. Now, another way of doing your masking is if you hit the backslash key, you can see where your mask is. And you can see that the mask is outside of here. So I can go through and I can clean that up because now I can see where it is. And that's just the backslash key. And if you hit the backslash key again, it comes back on. So still looks like there's still some in here. But now I brought back the tree trunk. So you have a little bit more place to focus. And then with the opacity at, say, if I hit the, to change the opacity, if I wanted just to have like 30%, I can just hit the number 3 and it changes it to 30%. And here, because I want to reveal, so white reveals, if I want to change my brush to white, I can just hit X and that will just toggle back and forth the foreground color and the background color. So if I hit X again, it's black. If I hit X again, it's white. And then my bracket keys to make my brush bigger or smaller, the left bracket makes it smaller and the right bracket makes it bigger. And then if I wanted to bring out some more detail in the tree, I can do that. Any questions, Craig?
No, no. Just to point out that if you look in the little window on the right side in the layers, you can see that you can see that it's not solid black anymore. You have the shows where the white has been painted in that allows the image from below to come through or above to come through. So you can see that there's something happening in there. I know it's small, but it's just a little hint for you.
Good point. Good point. So you can see here now, because I've got 9 layers on here, or 10, my file size now is a little bit more than 1 gigabyte.
Yeah.
So if we go ahead, theoretically, it should save it still as a PSD because it's under 2 gig. But my computer, a lot of times when it gets to like 1.5 gig, it doesn't like saving it as a PSD. It makes me save it as a large document. So just depending on computers. Also what I would do when this one, if you see here, this is still left over from something else. So I would crop this image. But it's just kind of a fun technique. And then there's always kind of like, oh, wait, there's more. It's like, oh, I want to. So sometimes it's kind of fun when there's trees and you want to make them look fuller. You can do this. All right. So let's just go File, Save. Let's see what it does. Little Jeopardy music here.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
Really. So fun times with computers. All right, it saved it. So close out and then come back into Lightroom. And here we've got it. Okay, any questions?
No. So now, like I was saying before, now you can actually crop here. You would not be able to get the effect of masking the layer with this, but you can do all your standard editing that you would do in Lightroom.
Right.
Here, you can put a vignette on it. You can do boost exposure, vibrance, saturation. You can do all that. Here, you can do the crop over here easily too. But
So here's the crop. Okay, with the cropping, if I wanted just to bring this over, I need to unlock this. So just click it to unlock it, and then I can just drag this over. And I'm going to just try to get rid of that and just kind of drag it up.
you have a little bit in the upright corner, but we don't, not getting
Yeah.
perfect with it. But yeah.
Well, then let's say, all right. So then if I wanted to, I could, I don't know. I like doing a little dehaze on stuff, do a little bit of clarity, a little bit of texture. Um, so many, there's just so many things you can do. And I just kind of eyeball it. Usually what I'll do, if I want like my whites and blacks, if I click on the white and I hit my Alt or Option key, it turns black. And then anything that has like different, a color that shows up is, will show you areas that are blown out. So if you look on the right-hand corner, you can see that's blown out. So you want to take it back till you don't see anything. Okay, and then for the same thing with the blacks, if you hit the Alt or Option key, and then you can kind of, and that's black. So a lot of times with the black, I don't mind going over on the blacks. With the whites, you generally don't want to go over on the whites. And then highlights, you just kind of click there, and we'll bring up some of the shadows. So there's so many things you can do. Craig was talking about vignetting. So if you go under effects, there's the vignette here, and you just kind of vignette it down. So whatever you want to do. Okay. Any other comments, Craig?
No, no, interesting effect. I would be interested to see a 360 done at 360 or something.
There you well. And you don't have to take like 100, you could just take
Right.
bigger steps in between.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go on to the next recording.